All right. So we got three people in here tonight. Okay, so let me kind of explain what's going on tonight. As I was looking for the news items earlier, I noticed there um wasn't a whole lot out there. There's only maybe a couple of things. So this is what I decided to do for tonight. Um, as you may have noticed already, the link, the Streamyard link, is in the chat. If you'd like to join me in the studio, we're gonna do a bit of an open mic night tonight, where we're just gonna hang out, have maybe chill session. We'll just talk niche, whatever comes up in the realm of anime, cartoons, comics, manga, pro wrestling, whatever like comes up, in the conversation. Um, So the link is in the chat there. If you guys want to join me in the studio here, um, we can get going. Hopefully you guys might you know join me. You had some things that I thought would be good topics to talk about on my mind, unless of course you guys have something that you'd like to talk about. Anyways, it looks like we have four people in here, so that's good. So as I said, the studio link is in the chat. So all you got to do is just click it, and I will go ahead and let you in, and you can be part of the conversation. So, anyways, I guess I can at least get started and get you guys at least thinking about like. So as part of my anime watching recently, I recently started watching Haikyuu, right? Ah, ATC. Lurking? You're lurking tonight, huh? ATC? Well, the link's there if you'd like to come in and chat it up. If, if you feel up to it. Um, but anyways, yeah, because anyways, I recently started watching. A few couple days ago, as part of my Adult Swim block, I started watching Haikyuu, which is a an anime. It's an anime in part about volleyball. You know, and of course, I recently rewatched Dear Boy slash Hoop Days, and it started me thinking. As I'd watched a couple of these sports animes, recently here. Even if you're not, the thing about Japanese anime when the sports animes said even if you're not into the sport itself, like maybe you don't like volleyball or maybe you're not into sports in general. They have a pretty good, a lot of times the animes, even if you're not into the sport itself, um they have some pretty good stories behind them in some of these cases. ATC just I mean, there's a thunderstorm over. Oh, okay. So you're basically saying that your connection may not be good enough for you to come in. Then I guess that where you're going with that. Well, hang out if you can. Be safe. So, anyways, yeah. So as I was just saying though, and there are many sport animes out there. They cover all sorts of sports. I know of a couple baseball animes, which of course include Big Wind Up, Princess Nine. There's even an American football anime, Ice Shield 21. Let's see. There's Captain Tsubasa from back in the 80s, which was a soccer anime. I just mentioned Haikyuu. There's a few basketball animes too, Slam Dunk. Um, Dear Boy / Hoop Days. Let's see. And I think one of the more recent ones is Kuroko no Basket, which I think some like Black's basketball or something like that. I'm not sure if, that's a proper English translation, but Hajime no Ippo, which is of course a boxing focused anime. You could even Bamboo Blade, one that involves the art of kendo, focusing on a kendo club. So that's and you can even argue that a lot of some of the animes that have like martial arts tournaments in them, you know, like Dragon Ball, like Yu Hakusho, let's see, Baki the Grappler. You'd argue those have now. Granted, they may those fighting animes might not be like the sport side of it may not be the big thing in them, but you know because they're a competition, you could make the argument they fall under as a subcategory, not necessarily as a main category, but as a subcategory, could fall under sport animes. But as I was just recently starting to watch Haikyuu, and what got me thinking about all this, about like some of the underlying stories of some of these, sport animes, um, I was thinking that the writing for them was pretty good because the stories they sometimes tell. In the case of Haikyuu, it's a volleyball anime, but it follows a guy by the name of Soyo Hinata, who's a short guy, and in volleyball you need to be tall, try to get the ball over the net. But he's an incredible athlete though. For being as short as he is, he has an incredible vertical leap. His reflexes and speed are pretty good. And he has this love of playing volleyball. And he spent much of his middle school years trying to put a competitive volleyball team together. The boys volleyball team at his middle school wasn't really much, and he'd end up like practicing with the girls and all that. He finally got a team together to enter a tournament, but they lost in the first round due obviously the lack of experience. But you know, a lot of what, at least from what I've early on the relationship between him and another freshman by the name of Kageyama, who are kind of rivals. They actually faced off each other in the game that he participated in the tournament there. And I found it, let's see. And he had wanted, he had wanted to beat his, of course, most powerful rival, but in an ironic twist, they end up going to the same high school. So now it's not a matter of now you can't beat him now because he's his teammate. So it's like, and the school they choose to go to was at one point a volleyball powerhouse, but now it's kind of fallen on hard times, as it were. As they haven't really had as good a season. They've still done okay, but they've kind of fallen from grace a bit. And now the story follows as these two lead this school that was once prominent back into prominence. And it's kind of funny because another sport anime that I was watching, that I just rewatched, has kind of the same plot to it. Dear Boys, which also alternately also is known as Hoop Days, which is a basketball anime following a high school basketball team that was basically suspended for like a year due to the fact that um, that one of the players ended up punching out his coach, and it got a lot of public scrutiny. And of course, if you guys know anything about Japanese culture, the whole idea of respecting authority, respecting your elders, um, and saving face, being honorable. And Dear Boys followed, when you had this again superstar athlete coming to the transferring to a school from a major program, and he ends up being the catalyst to help get this team reignited, through their mutual love of playing basketball. So I was just thinking a lot about that. I thought that might be a good conversation to have with you guys if you guys have thought about any sport animes you guys have watched. Hoping to get some one or two of you in here to talk more about that. I did put the link to the studio in the chat, so I'll even do that again so that you guys can try to come in and check it out. And I see we're down to only 2 people now, and I do, of course, as always, do appreciate the likes and the shares. Um, help get the algorithm up. See if we can get more people in here. So, and again, as I said, I just decided to open up the studio and see if anybody would like to join me in here and just have a good old fashioned bull session. Of course, apparently there's only me and one other person in here right now, uh, so hopefully, whoever's out there, I don't know if it's Solid or Toys who's still here, but you guys want to come in and join me in the studio, and we can talk about some some animes and stuff like that, or even, again, comics, or and at least participating wise in the chat. I'm the only one participating in the chat right now. Ah, oh, now we're back up to 3. That's good. I'd better check the studio to see if anybody's joined in yet. No, not yet. But we are back up to 3 people, so that's cool. So I again would invite you to join me, if you'd like. And, have a little bull session. And I know ATC said he'd be lurking, so it's cool too. Of course, Prince of Tennis, tennis anime. So, as I said, with a lot of these sport animes, at least the ones that I've seen, there's also some cool. There's usually a good plot in there in terms of the storytelling, in terms of like, so even if you're not into the sport, like Hajime no Ippo is a boxing anime, right? Even if you're not a boxing fan, even if you don't care for boxing, okay, and I think Megalobox is another boxing one. But even at least with Hajime no Ippo, even if you're not into the sport itself, you still might enjoy the anime for the story and for some of the, like, the idea of watching the character mature and grow into their role. Um, Princess Nine's a baseball one about basically about a female high school principal who decides that she wants to not only field a boys baseball team but field a girls baseball team, not a softball team. They already do softball, but a girls baseball team. That was kind of an interesting one, and how these girls would be able to stack up against the boys. You know, um, oh yeah. So again, as I said, I find that a lot of the under some for some of these some of like sport type animes, again, even if you're not into the sport itself, you can still find enjoyment from watching the anime, because of some of the some of the writing, some of the storytelling, some of the like the other aspects that you'd find in other animes too, like coming of age aspect of it in some of these cases. Um, watching a character grow into their role. You know, I know in Big Wind Up, a big focus is on the relationship between the pitcher and catcher. And their developing relationship, and their building of a bond. Um, which again makes for some very very good very good storytelling. So, do you guys have any particular sport animes that you want to ask about or talk about? Any good stories that you guys have seen in watching animes, particularly sport animes? I know there's at least two other people in here, so hopefully you guys are at least thinking about it. I'm sure you guys have seen at least some form of sport anime that maybe and of course, it doesn't. If if there are some other good stories that you guys like, from other animes as well, bring those up too. Sport anime just happen to be the ones that I was just primarily thinking about more recently. But if you guys got something else you guys want to talk about, we can do that too. To quote the video announcer girl from the irresponsible Captain Tyler, we're waiting. Uh, Actually, there's actually been a few wrestling animes too. There was the Tiger Mask anime back in the 70s that actually led to a professional wrestler taking on the Tiger Mask persona in real life. Originally, it was Satoru Sayama back in the 80s there, but they've been like I think right now there's the fourth Tiger Mask who's wrestling, and then of course the late Mitsuharu Misawa also at one point donned the Tiger Mask. And then I think there's another, can't remember it off the top of my head, but there's another wrestling anime that involves robots wrestling. I think in fact it may not be a full anime series, it may actually be an OVA. Oh yeah, I think it's Steel Fighter Miku or something like that, or I know Fighter Miku is part of the title. I don't know if it's Steel Fighter Miku or Street Fight, and again some of the tournament style fighting anime slash game slash manga like Street Fighter and and Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, could also be thrown into that, for the competition aspect, even though those are more a more martial arts, action adventure kind of animes. Terms of like they're fighting not necessarily to compete for a prize, but to basically save the world. You know, um, um, oh, you guys have anything to add to the conversation? Well, I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Man, I guess today is really a lurking night for you guys because not only is nobody joining me in the studio tonight, but but we haven't really had anybody comment in a while. Last thing still is the link to the studio. So hmm. I know I know Batgoat will probably be in a little late tonight due to the fact trivia night, and I know and Anon will probably be in a little later because he's getting off work. Leto, I know, is still getting ready for work. Um, Maybe on his way out pretty soon. Hmm. Just between you and me, I've got something to say. Wanna get it straight before the sun goes down. Just a meet need to be made. Anyways, I'll be right back. Just gotta go off camera here for a quick second. Of course, as always, I do appreciate any likes and shares you guys can delve out, to let hopefully we can get some more people in here. Ah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, come on. I know you guys have something probably on your mind. I'm sure you guys have been watching some anime, whether that be on Toonami or what have you. Yeah, I know. Coming up on April 10th, the Fire Force will be moving down. Because I think something is. I can check that out. And I know that we just talked about it recently. Um, Let me see here. Let me see now. So I do know that they do have a programming update coming up in terms of Tsunami lineup. Saturday night, Sunday morning. Yeah, SS Gridman is finishing up its run on the 3rd, or starting on April 10th. Let's see. Oh yeah, The Promised Neverland is coming back. Second season of the dub of the second season of The Promised Neverland is coming back. So starting on April 10th, you'll have Dragon Ball Super on at midnight, followed by Attack on Titan at 12:30, Food Wars Shogeki no Soma on at 1. Promise Neverland comes in at 1:30, and then I guess reruns of Fire Force on at 2, Black Clover on at 2:30, Naruto Shippuden on at 3, and then Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba coming on at 3:30. So the upcoming Toonami lineup starting on April 10th. Hmm. Let's see now. We got at least 1 week of March left, so we're almost into April now. Actually, an anime I'll probably be starting to watch tonight is Your Lie in April, which looks like a pretty interesting one. From what little I've read of it, it's a nice little slice of life one. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so even if you guys don't want to come into the studio, that doesn't mean you it doesn't mean you can't contribute in the chat as well. I mean, you guys, even if you guys don't want to come on camera or anything like that, you can still like say something in the chat. Be shy. Hmm. What else can I bring up here? Let's see. Yes, I can. Let's see. Like Hajime no Ippo. That one was a pretty good anime to watch. It had a pretty good soundtrack and also the underlying story about watching the young man develop as a boxer was pretty good. The techniques and all that. Hmm. So isn't there anything you guys have on your mind tonight? Anybody want to share? Hmm. Hmm. And one of the other things I was just thinking about is, even when looking into like anime to watch, or or even on the even if you're just looking to watch the dub version of it, sometimes how you can in the process you can still pick up on certain on some Japanese terms, like for example, I figured out that monogatari means like tale or story in Japanese. There's a number of different animes out there with the term monogatari in it. Like there's monogatari itself, and then there's like bake monogatari, which means ghost story. There's monogatari Shinkoku, which is the story of Shinkoku. You know, I think the term Senki in Japanese may mean war or legend. It actually might mean legend because I know Arslan Senki is heroic legend of Arslan. Ah, let me see. Yeah. Actually, the tiger, it's kind of funny because um, I know Satoru Sayama, the original Tiger Mask, innovated the move that became known as the Tiger Feint Kick, which from what I understand is the move that Rey Mysterio calls the 619 when he runs from one end of the ring to another, goes to like looks like he's gonna fly out to the first and second rope, but grabs on the ropes instead and just swings around and kicks the guy in the face. Um, that move in Japan is called the Tiger Feint Kick, and it was Satoru Sayama who came up with that. And then I think when Mitsuharu Misawa um, took on the mask as Tiger Mask, he actually came up with the tiger suplex and the tiger bomb. The tiger suplex, you stand behind the guy, grab kind of a reverse chicken wings, and then suplex him back. And then the tiger bomb, you take the guy from the double underhook position, lift him up, and power bomb him. So, um, oh yeah, so some interesting stuff there. Um, I know Yellow Flash has at times had issues with. I guess he didn't care for um, Slam Dunk. I've heard that before, so I haven't seen it myself. So, um, but I have seen Hoop Days. That is a pretty good anime, in my opinion, anyways. Underlying story there. Um, let's see. Mm, mm. Yeah, so I guess we are having a bit of a slow night tonight. Yeah. So, don't you guys have anything you want to add to the conversation? Hmm. We're down to two people here. And we're back up to three, so keep floating back and forth. And then you can see people are still lurking. Again, I was wondering, isn't there anything? I mean, you guys can ask me anything here too. Any way to keep a conversation going here. I'll take questions as well. And if I can answer them, I'll answer them. And if I have to go look them up, I'll go look them up. So, does anybody want to maybe tell me their favorite sports anime? Sure, you guys probably have something in mind. And can tell me what it is, and then tell me why it's your favorite. Hmm. And of course, we also know that there are a few like video games out there that got anime adaptations, like the Persona game series, the Dot Hack Project, Sword Art Online. Um, those. Hmm. 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 Guess we're just waiting to see if anybody else shows up. Maybe somebody else will want to come in and talk. Hmm. Hmm. So we're coming up on 40 minutes here, so that's a pretty good run. Hmm. I am immortal. I have the rights, the son of kings. Yeah, I have no rivals. No man can be my equal. Take me to the future of your world. Yeah, on Sunday nights, I've been watching. Oh, we have some. Okay, let's see what Toys has to say. Wow, no one's here. Yeah, there's only like three of us here, and but then we know like but we do know that usually Batgoat comes late because trivia. Got trivia. Leto comes in a little late because he's usually getting ready for work. I mean, let's see. Mike, this isn't good. Yeah, well, a lot of dead air, but again, there was like when I checked for news stories earlier, there was only like a couple of news stories, so I figured I'd just try to open up the mic, do an open mic, on the spot and just see if anybody come in, and we get a conversation going. But but it hasn't turned. I'm thinking at least you would have probably came in ETC, but uh, you know, um, we could have played off each other there, conversing. I mean, I try to keep the conversation going, but you're right. I'm like repeating a lot of the same stuff I've been saying. So, um, but then it's the middle of the week too. So, I mean, sometimes hump days can be a little tricky. But what I will try to do here, I mean, because we're coming up on like we are coming up on 45 minutes here. But let me see what you just said there. I'm dealing with some stuff. Ah, okay. Well, here's what I'm going to do. Um, as you said, it's not really not really as great. I mean, there's three of us here, so there's at least one other person here. I'm thinking that might be solid, um, but if at the hour mark, nobody else has shown up, then I might just start winding down a little early tonight, just because even I can't like just unless I have something to work with, like either stories to read from or people to play off of. It's a little bit hard to just keep a conversation going by myself here. you know, um, so if let's say we don't get any more people coming in and or people really feeling like they want to talk at the hour mark, I might just start winding down a little early tonight. So yeah, I do know uh, maybe it's a seasonal change. Mm, so, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's as much. I mean, now Batgoat and anonymity we know come in probably a little late, and Leto usually does too. So I don't know about Woody. Yeah. Um, but as I said, we don't really, if we don't, if let's say we don't have any more people come in by like the hour mark, then I might just wrap it up early tonight. At least try to get to the hour mark here. Um, um, I guess you said you're dealing with some stuff, so I'm not gonna pry too much. I just hope whatever it is, everything works out for you there, ATC. Hopefully it will. Hopefully whatever is going on will work itself out. Ah, let's see now. Okay, so I can at least let's see. I guess I can kind of tell you what I'm at least watching right now. Let's see. So my Toonami afternoon block is watching, of course, Super Friends on season 2 of the 1980 series. I went back and started watching Pokemon. I'm now onto the Orange Island arc in that. See, I'm also watching. Let's see now. I'm trying to think here. Let's see. Dice is the last thing I'm watching. Let's see. What am I watching in between Dice and um? Oh yeah, One Piece. I recently started watching One Piece. All the way back in episode 1. So checking that out. That's pretty interesting. And then my nighttime watching, I'm watching. See, of course, I've been watching once again 90707. Um, been going through the Gundam series. I'm right now at Seed. Will be getting ready to start watching Seed Destiny. Um, I just finished Disgaea last night, so I'll be starting Your Lie in April tonight, and then also watching Haikyuu, as I was telling you guys about. Oh, we got a fourth person in here. Hello, fourth person. Um, wasn't able to find, and now we're back down to 3. Wasn't able to find much in terms of news articles. So what I did decide to try to do tonight was to open up the studio, albeit that hasn't turned out as well as I'd want to. And it looks like 2 people just we got up to 4, and then we're now back down to 2. Uh, yeah. According to the participants list, me and ATC are the ones participating in the chat. Now we're back up to 3 again. Look like. Have you seen any High Rise Invasion yet? High Rise and what? Is that an anime or something, or are you talking about like a real High Rise Invasion? If you're talking about an anime, I don't think so because I haven't even heard of that until you just mentioned it. So if you're talking about an actual high rise invasion, like some kind of alien invasion, no, as far as I know, I even looking out my window here, I can't see any kind of alien invasion or anything like that. Mm. And I'm guessing the storm is probably the thunderstorm that's over your house is probably yes, it's an anime. Okay. Excuse me a quick moment while I go off camera here for a moment. No, I haven't actually. I hadn't even heard of it till you mentioned it. So I don't know if that just simply means it's a newer anime or what. But of course, I'm still working on stuff from the past. I have seen some more recent stuff like I'll Know Zero and a few other things, but for the most part, I haven't seen High Rise Invasion. It's a must watch. Well, yeah, is it dubbed? Because I just watched dubbed. Um, if it's dubbed, I'll probably will at some point check it out if once I find out more about it. But if it's not dubbed, then probably laugh out loud. It should be dubbed. So basically, are you saying with that comment? Are you saying that as an opinion, like you believe it should be dubbed because it's so good, or are you saying that you think it's dubbed but you're not completely sure? Got a it's got a spot where a cop holds up a schoolgirl for a struggle. Oh, whoa! That sounds like a bit of a risque anime there. Hmm. So the anime is called High Rise Invasion. Is that the one you're? I'm checking. Okay, what are you checking to see if it's dubbed? It's on Netflix. Okay, so it's probably a newer. It's probably most likely a new. No wonder I probably hadn't heard of it. It's probably like a newer. I'm gonna guess that it's kind of a newer dub, more recent dub, or more recent anime. Probably why I haven't heard of it if it's more recent. Hmm. Then maybe I'll have to look that up too. More information. Yeah, so I'm looking it up too. So I guess the Japanese name for it is Tenku Shinpan. Let's see, oh, it's a horror survival anime. It's considered it's 12. Yeah, you're right. It's on Netflix. It was produced by Zero G. Um, it's slated for 12 episodes. Let's see. See who some of these. Suzy Young, Jenny Kwan, Stephanie Shee, Robinson. So it was Johnny Young. So it looked like it was dubbed out here in L.A. Let's see, Christina V. So the dubbing, it looks like the dubbing was done out here in L.A. So let's see. Were they saying got the license for that? Let's see. As well, it was licensed by Netflix, so probably dubbed by let's see. So yeah, I would guess if Johnny Young Boss is involved in it, was probably dubbed out here in L.A. because um, it has English audio. Yeah, I just looked it up and looked like we have 4 people in here. So how about it comes in 7 different languages? Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like we have one more person who just joined us. So hey, Leto. Um, so Leto's here. Okay. So Leto, what? Let me see first here. Hey, Mike, Toys, Solid. How are y'all? Well, didn't have a whole lot of news items come up. And then Action says, "Hey, Leto." Didn't have a whole lot of news items come up, Leto, so I decided to try to make it an open mic night. But haven't had a whole lot of people in here thus far, so it's been a slow night. Yeah, because again, there wasn't a whole lot of news items to report on. So, um, but hey, Leto, I don't know if you are able to, but if you would like to, here's the link to the studio tonight. If you'd like to join me in the studio. Toys was just kind of telling me a little bit about this anime called High Rise Invasion. So, and I was just looking it up. So, oh, cool. I thought too bad I have um. Too bad I don't have the day off. Okay. Uh, this kind of came up more suddenly, Leto. One of the things I was talking about earlier in the stream was like sport animes. Just point I was making about. Can't I'm heading to work fixing to drive right now. All right. Well, at least you can listen in. Yeah, what I was talking about earlier was sports animes. Because I've been watched a couple, and I was just thinking about how like sometimes like with a lot of sport with some of the sport animes that are out there, even if you're not necessarily a fan of the sport itself, they got some good storytelling in them that can even appeal to non-sports fans. Some coming of age type storytelling and stuff like that. Sorry, on my phone. I understand. I understand. But just to let you know, due to the fact that it's kind of a slow night tonight, I am contemplating kind of wrapping up early a bit because I was gonna give it. I may give it a little longer since you're here. Saying how. Yes, of course I'll be listening. Um, letter spelling is as repugnant as mine sometimes. Uh, Again, depending upon how the conversation goes, if we can keep a conversation going, then I might stick around a little longer. But if depending upon how things go, if, things stay slow or whatever, I might wrap up early. So just kind of giving you a heads up there. But some guys, sometimes there are going to be nights when things are going to be slow. It's the cycle of things, you know. Um, Sometimes the news will, they'll may only be, and you guys know the coverage I do. I cover more or less release. Like, yeah, there's other stories out there. Like, there's stories in terms of, you know, Kanan stories where I've seen, like, particularly on a lot of the CBR stuff, particularly in the comic stuff, I've seen stories where they talk about specific aspects of certain stories that are coming out, like stuff about villains and stuff like that. But since I don't read the comics as much, I feel like that'd be more or less a spoiler, But I will, like, report on releases and sales and all that. So on my phone, and my fat thumbs hit the wrong keys, laugh out loud. Yeah, that's usually why a lot of times I will slow down if I have, like, in terms of the typing, if I have to, you know. But I'm out loud. Kind of the good thing about using your voice more is, and of course, as always, if you can, if I do appreciate any likes and shares. You guys can see if we can get some more people in here. Um, all right, guys, I'm go silent because I'm on the road. Okay, all right, Leto. Um, I understand. We're just past the hour mark now, so let's see how the conversation goes. See if you know. Let's see. And thank you again for the like there, Leto. And um, I thank you guys always for the likes. It does help a bit. So let's see now. No, Leto's silent now because he's driving. Well, hey, ATC, aside from High Rise Invasion, is there any other animes that you're watching right now? Ah, there's Solid. Okay, let's see what Solid has to say here. Currently, Radio of Healer is getting a German dub before an English one. Huh, that's interesting. Name some struggle snuggle animes. Let's see. I can't wait to see what happens to the sword hero. Struggle snuggle animes, huh? Actually, that does remind me of a. Okay, it wasn't exactly okay. That does remind me of some. You did remind me of something there, ATG. That's interesting. So, um, another one of my personal favorite animes is Full Metal Panic. It has Full Metal Panic Fumofu, in Full Metal Panic, um, Full Metal Panic, Second Raid. Okay, so um, Full Metal Panic Fumofu is kind of a comedic one where so yeah, the underlying thing, Full Metal Panic is a mecha anime with some, like, action adventure dealing with, like, secret organizations and all that. So it's basically about the two main characters are Sosuke Sagara and Kanami Chidori. And Sosuke is tasked with having to guard Kanami because it's discovered at some point in the series that she has this like natural ability. It's like some she's kind of like she has some kind of weird knowledge about their mechas, the mechas that they use, like the real technical stuff. Even though it's not conscious, it's like she's kind of a savant when it comes to when it comes to kind of a savant when it comes to the mechas of their series. So he short here. Um Revy, some struggle snuggle in jail in the Black Lagoon OVA. There is an anime about a group of kids resurrected in another world by an evil god who wants to watch them all suffer, laugh out loud. People get resurrected at some as some silly stuff. Yeah. Well, anyways, going back to the point the story I was talking about here. So now in Fumofu's kind of more of a comedic one. Now, Sosuke isn't the most socially adept individual because he basically was raised in a secret military organization his whole life. So some of the social nuances of interacting with like other teenagers kind of escape him. So there's this one episode of Fumofu when he, Konami, and their friends all go to a beach, right? And they're hanging out at the beach, and she disappears, and so he can't figure out where she's at. And it's been a while since her disappearance, so he starts thinking all kinds of things. Like he's wondering what in the where is she? Where's starts worrying, and a bunch of stuff goes through his head. And you do have this one scene. Now, granted, it's I don't know what the process is called, but when they instead of showing the actual full picture, what they do is I guess they digitize it. Um, they obscure it by like digitizing it. You don't actually see the full picture. It's like but there's a bunch of like digital spots there, you know, and they basically do have a scene there where if you look close enough, even though the pictures like I don't know the actual term for it, but I think you guys might know what the characters are all like kind of fuzzy like in digital form. They're not like it's not like what you're seeing right now. It's like you know you know they actually do even though but based on the sound, based on her screams, in his imagination, you get the impression that, she may be suffering a struggle snuggle. Oh. And then let's see. Actually, the original, I don't know about the more recent one, but the earlier Berserk series from back in the 90s, that had a scene towards the end where the main female protagonist was struggle snuggled as well. So there are a couple of interesting things there, and then of course I think about one of the other things I've heard too, and we're down to one person now. One of the other things I've heard as well is that I don't know if it was in one of the movies or something like that, where in Neon Genesis Evangelion, where like Shinji may have ended up struggle snuggling Asuka, I believe. So, and it looked like I'm down. I'm down to being the only person in here. What happened to everybody? Where'd everybody go? Oh, now we're back up to two. Hey, Bat Goat. Yeah, kind of. Laugh out loud. Maybe a deep cuddle is a good phrase for it to laugh out loud. What up, my players? Hey, Bat Goat. Yeah. So, hey, Bat Goat. I really couldn't find too many news stories tonight. So, what I was trying to do was I decided to try to open up the studio to see if anybody come in to have have a bull session and kind of having it, but just without anybody else in the studio but me. You know, Mike opened up the topics for tonight. We got our butts kicked at trivia tonight. Ouch. But we smashed for the last 3 weeks. This was expected. Well, yeah. Hey, back up. All right. Well, that note, what I did tonight, I opened up the studio. Yeah, I'll even share the link again. If you would like to join me in the studio, you can tell us, maybe you can tell us in person if you would like about your night tonight. I see you're saying, hey, toys, hey, Leto. So I just decided to open up the studio, because I couldn't, really wasn't, there didn't seem to be much way of news, only like two or only a couple of stories. So yeah, just open it up because I did have something to talk about. Was talking about sport animes earlier, um, and the idea that there are some sport animes out there that even if you're not into the sport itself, they got some pretty good stories behind them that would appeal to even those who aren't into the sport themselves. So I put the link up. If you'd like to join me in the studio, we could hang out. You can tell everybody about your trivia night. Oh, there you are. Hey, Bat Goat.
Hang on. Okay, there I am. Hey, good to see you.
Yeah.
Oh, I just took the rubber bands out of my mustache, so it looks real. Look at that. That looks so dumb.
It looks all right to me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Looks horrible to me, but
So look,
yeah,
anonymity just came.
we did horrible at trivia tonight. I did have a few beers, so I'm a little buzzed, but yeah, I'll try to help any way I can if you need.
Well, I was struggling because nobody wanted to come in and join me, so I was like trying to carry on a conversation by myself.
They tend to do that. Those jerks.
Well,
Toys. I'm
Toys was
looking at
even
you,
telling me earlier that
toys.
it wasn't good because for me, as you know, unless I'm either reading something or I have somebody to kind of play off what I'm saying, it's a bit harder to carry on a conversation just by
Yeah,
myself.
sure. Yep. And
So
and
anonymity says here, hey, good evening. Just got home, going to eat. Real quick, okay.
hey,
Uh,
Anon, good to see you, brother.
Evening,
I just
everyone. Hey,
got home
Anon.
from the bar. Haven't even had a chance to go out and pack one up, as me and Anon like to say, using that kids lingo.
So Bat Goat Solid's got a little thing to say to you.
I see that. He says, Back Goat, hey there, you've been missing all the headshots. I know, Solid. I'm sorry, I missed yesterday's stream. So let me know. Let me know when the next stream is when we're in chat here, and I will write it down and I will do my best to get there. However,
Yeah, he was
in my
on
defense,
earlier. He was on earlier today too, because I dropped in on him this morning.
I will explain. I told Mike this that I've reverted back to my old paramedic schedule, so I'm awake all night and I sleep during the day. I try to get like 6 hours during the day, or it just that's what happens. So like somewhere between like 10 and like between 10 and 4 o'clock during the day is usually my sleeping time because I'm back on a medic schedule because my body is goofy and that's how God decided it's going to work and whatever.
Yeah. Action Toys had said here, Yosemite Sam Bat Goat just needs a couple of of revs and a 20-gallon hat.
Yeehaw!
Hey, anonymity. Okay, Leto
Yosemite Sam.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Anonymity said, elate your mind. And I don't even get Solid's notifications. Yeah. So, well, earlier on, because one of the things that I've been thinking about the last couple of days is I just recently started watching an anime called Haikyuu, which is a volleyball anime. Okay.
What's it called?
And Haikyuu, Haikyu.
Okay, cool.
It's pronounced Haikyuu.
Okay.
It's a volleyball anime, but as with many sport animes, even if you're not necessarily into the sport itself, the storytelling a lot of times will even there are aspects of it like coming of age stuff and like watching the character grow that make it appealing even for those who may not be into the sport side of it itself.
Sure.
I was just thinking of thinking on a bunch of different like sport animes like there's a couple baseball animes I know like Big Wind Up and Princess Nine. There's a football anime, American football anime called I Shield 21. I haven't myself seen that one, but of course there are some basketball ones, Slam Dunk, which I know Flash doesn't like. One of the ones I've watched that I think is pretty good is Hoop Days or Dear Boys.
I remember you talking about that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's one that's more recent called Kuroko no Basket, which I believe translates black basketball black or black basketball or something like that. Don't know as much about that one. There's Hajime no Ippo, which is a boxing anime. Captain Tsubasa, soccer anime. There's even a couple of wrestling animes that I mentioned, like Tiger Mask from back in the 70s, which gave us the actual real world wrestler Tiger Mask and Steel Fighter Miku. So, and I was just, and
who remembers Rasslor from Powerpuff Girls when he fought Monkey to save the planet, voiced by the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Well, actually, I think I do vaguely.
The character was Wrasslor, Rasslor, and it was Macho Man, and he would fly around in his ship, and he would wrestle everyone from the planet. If they weren't good enough, he'd blow up their planet. And Monkey from Powerpuff Girls, he fought so hard.
Oh, Mojo Jojo. You're talking about
No. Monkey. Mojo Jojo was the big brain. Monkey was like, he didn't talk. He was I'm calling it Powerpuff Girls. It was Dexter's Lab. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Dexter's Lab. Okay. My bad.
Oh, you're talking.
He had the one superhero girl with the black hair, right? And she had her little sidekick was Monkey that was in Dexter's Lab, and he would like telepathically.
I think that was the Dial M for Monkey segment. What you're talking about there.
Thank you. I screwed it up at first, but you reeled me in. Thank you, Mike.
Well, I mean, hey, that's what I can do. I mean, I do have my fair share of knowledge.
In my defense, for being slightly buzzed up, overweight, out of work, retired, dumb guy, I did pretty good there, I think.
Yeah, you did. You're doing fine. I mean, to me, you don't seem buzzed at all. You seem okay. So
thank you. I'm trying.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for coming in and saving me from having to stretch out my brain there.
That's how much I like you, bro. I came on here with this horrible looking.
Yeah. So anonymity is responding to Solid here, like ringing the bell.
That's better.
Yeah, I did that. It seems YouTube only pushes a few instead of everyone I sub to. Yeah. Well, that's been getting talked a lot about lately, though, that YouTube is only pushing the bigger channels, it would seem. I mean, now, granted, I wasn't getting Solid's notifications a whole lot at first either, but I more recently started getting them more now. So, Let's see. Well, according to Solid here, well, the streams are saved to my channel afterwards. You can go back and watch
Thank you,
them
boys.
at at your leisure. And I do the same thing. I leave my streams up, like, with the exception of some more controversial. Obviously, that one controversial one, the Hero Monkey. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Anonymity. The Dial M for Monkey from Dexter's Laboratory. I might have to do a quick skim. Monkey was a monkey who had supernatural powers,
and he had there was a big M on it, like
right?
it was part of his outfit. Was he had the thing over his head and the big M on his forehead, which I always thought was funny.
Yeah, let's see, both same art. Yeah, another interesting segment that was on Dexter's Laboratory was kind of a spoof of, like, the Justice League. I think they were called the Justice Friends, with, like, Major Glory and
Yes.
Valhalla.
Yes. Valhallan. I love Valhallan. The big dude with the long locks and the guitar. He's like, right on, bros.
Yeah, the Norse rocker hero, and then of course Krunk.
Valhallan was the best. He's like one of my favorite superheroes.
The purple version of the Incredible Hulk.
Kronk Smash. He would actually say Kronk Smash. So I mean, like, they're not even trying to hide that they're stealing.
That is a parody of the Hulk. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm remembering that one episode where Valhalla kept telling Krunk to go to the dentist because he had the chip stuck in his tooth.
Yes, and they kept trying to, like, they were using, like, bigger and bigger things to try to, like, knock it out. Like, then they had a tank going. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah. So see, laugh a lot. I feel like that goat is my spirit. So I guess that's what you were saying. Thank you, too.
Yeah, I saw that and I laughed. Thank you, Toys. That's silly.
One Odyssey does live streaming. I'm done with YouTube.
You know, I haven't even checked that. I haven't even checked the site out. Like, normally when people are talking about, like, an alt tech thing, I'll go and check it out. But, like, I haven't even looked at Odyssey.
Yeah, even though I did sign up to Rumble, I haven't even really started watching any of it yet. I still use YouTube because that's the one I know.
It's the biggest in the world, so
yeah. Valhalla. But if you think about it, with the way ATC is spelling it there, that's kind of like the rock band Van Halen.
Van Halen, yeah. Except they did, yeah.
Might as well jump. Might as well jump.
But I think they did put 2 L's in it, so like it was closer to, like, Valhalla type of thing.
So
I love the way he talked. He was just rock on, dude, and he would say "brah." And, like, millennials think they're so cool saying "bro" all the time. It's like, we've been saying that since last century. Stop it. And that is like, my bros, my bros. I loved the way he talked.
You grew up more in the early 80s. I was more late 80s, early 90s, but I'm sure you still remember, like, peace out, dude. Peace out, dude. Peace out, dude. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Peace out, like people saying now, like, and so he peace outed, like, peace out is so old. Some of these millennials, like, maybe hear something that their parents say and go, oh, that's old, that's kitschy and stupid, and I'm going to bring it back. Like, legit, all the kids saying legit, the kids 20 to 30-year-olds saying legit. Like, really? In 1991, when Hammer came out with Too Legit to Quit, people were going, too legit. We were like, you're a loser. And now all of a sudden it's cool.
Hey, too legit to quit.
Think about your language and what's going to be cool, and think about the fact that there are people older than you that go, no, we used to say that and it went away for a reason. Look at the way I'm scratching my face up.
Well, look, that's one of the things we look at when we go back and do the comic history review, right? We look at the word used and how, like, over time, etymology and ideology, idiotomy and all that, have changed over time. I mean, look at how formally they spoke back in the 30s as compared to today, right?
Honestly, the 30s, probably the 20s, but the 30s, definitely the media can prove this, is where the younger generation was really given a big hard one of these to the adults, and like that's when like, hey, look, see, and what a day, what a dish, look at those gams. That's when they really started like trying to speak differently than their elders. In my opinion, I could be wrong. I think it started in the 20s, and then by the 30s, big time,
well,
and then by the
probably
40s,
the idea of the Roaring 20s too. In that,
yeah, I want to think of like the Great Gatsby and Bernice bobbing her hair and stuff like that. So they were definitely against the older generation, as kids have always been. But by the 30s and 40s, they were definitely trying to talk differently than their parents.
Yeah.
And then again, I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. This is all opinions. It's coming off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting that you say that, because my dad had a very interesting saying. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them.
That is so
You've
true.
heard that saying before.
Yes, it's brilliant and it's true, and it's always has been, always will be true.
And I was quoting. I wasn't necessarily using. I wasn't using the swear word for lack of better communication. I was
but that's
quoting.
a famous one, and it's okay for you to use that. You should read some of these comments because they're pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out when.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. I think that's the only reason YouTube is going to give the quartering some time on Friday.
Yeah.
Now,
agree.
Well, what's that? Because I have heard there's been I know there's been a big, and I saw Tug did a video this morning on it, and I watched that, where there's some big cancel mission going on, and I guess the quartering is one of the guys there. What's going on with all that? Do you know, Batgo?
Quartering, he put out a video today, and Anon saw this too. So he actually, I think he mentioned using super lawyer or half Asian super lawyer Bill Richmond, that they set this thing up because it started back with remember, what's her name, Super Bay Killa, I think was the girl on Twitter who was going after him, but like she's got 10,000 followers and he's got 1 million. So he was speaking in code kind of, but he was saying like, look, they didn't have to do this, but they're giving me a meeting on Friday. I'm going to meet with them and I'm going to lay out this, how come these people can do this and I can't do this, and hopefully he can get some stuff done.
Oh, in other words, he's gonna meet with them to talk about their hypocrisy.
Apparently, he's meeting with Susan and the whole team. Like this is a big deal, and we're hoping that Jeremy will get to throw some of our words in how we feel.
Oh yeah, and something I discovered through, of course, Tug's video this morning. You know that Tug, along with Yellow Flash and Geeks and Gamers, a number of those YouTubers are now on IMDb.
No, I did not know that. Is that right?
Yeah, they're on IMDb. Yeah. Tug was even showing, and get this one. Apparently, people at IMDb believe that Geeks and Gamers is the executive producer for basically all the big YouTubers. He's like the executive producer of The Quartering. He's the executive producer of Tug. He's the executive producer of Yellow Flash. He's the executive producer of Young Ripa, that Star Wars girl. I mean, it was like, oh, Cecil says.
How? But here's the thing. The problem with that, Mike, is we listen to that and go, how stupid? How could anyone be stupider? And the problem is that the majority of Americans don't watch YouTube like we do. They just watch mainstream media. So they will believe that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the problem. We know that's ridiculous.
Tug did a whole video on it because apparently somebody was going out to Geeks and Gamers to try to cancel him. it was another cancel culture, video, but it was, but he was showing all the like, and I'm like sitting there going, whatever. I mean,
And the whole thing about how Ryan Ryan Kinnell was just this happy-go-lucky gay dude, whatever, and he was all yay, and then
I don't even know who Ryan Kennel is. I know
he's one of the bigger names on Jeremy on Geeks and Gamers, and he's big. Like his own channel is growing. But they said, well, he was radicalized. He was radicalized by Jeremy, so he doesn't even count. He's not one of us anymore. He can't speak out as a gay man. He's just bad because he's involved with Geeks and Gamers, and Jeremy. I don't like. He can yell it as much as he wants. He's like, look, one of my top people, she's a lesbian over here, and I've got this over here, and like he's got the cards to deal out and play. They're all there, but the wokey media, they don't care. They'll just like he's white, he speaks with an accent, and he likes the Constitution and he likes America, so he's a bad guy. So they're going after him.
Yeah, well, let me because you were mentioning about the super chat or the chat here, Crunk in the Trunk from Solid there.
That's really funny.
Punk Hair Rock was Valhalla, laugh out loud, toys. Bro, bra,
Brett.
and bra, or Brett and bra. Was, has, and will never be cool. Ha ha ha.
Agreed.
What was that popular swing dance back in the 20s? Let's see.
To correct you, Adon, I'm sorry to do this, but swing was not invented until 1940. So, see it on your next one, Charleston.
Yeah.
They were called rags. What they danced to, the hopping back forward, Charleston. That was called a rag. That's what they danced to.
So according to anonymity, everyone has one, and they all stink.
That would be an a-hole.
Yeah. Yeah, what we were saying earlier. Half Asian super lawyer Bill Richmond. It's crazy just going to IMDb and making bleep up. Hell, even Rakeda has an IMDb.
He's our grift daddy.
Yeah, I love me some RK, and then so yeah, yeah, but when I saw that this morning, when I saw like they were trying to cancel Tuggy, and I watched that video, and I was like, oh, Tug's got it, like, because he was pointing to Jeremy, Geeks and Gamers, Jeremy, his IMDb page, which of course has his name and his birth date. So I was kind of curious. I saw, okay, well, Tug's apparently on there too, so maybe I'll check Tug's IMDb page out, see what they have on him, and they have all of his shows listed, of course. But it, yeah, it's a video you might want to check out though. It's okay. Like, because he was talking about the idea was, I guess they're like trying to. I guess the point he was making is they're trying to make out like Geeks and Gamers. Jeremy Griggs, is this leader of this this movement against all the SJWs.
And I know that the Zack Snyder thing from last week in my mind has a lot to do with it, because that made some national press, and a few places picked up on look at our now great, even though we hated the fandom, we hated anyone that said give us the Snyder cut, but now that he went on Geeks and Gamers, they called him a hate group. He's our guy, and here's who the bad guy is, and you should hate him because he's
and that whole, and and I can see, and I can understand. It's kind of funny because if you remember, we read an article last week where he actually from Bounding into Comics, where he actually praised EVS, right? You remember that?
He did.
And then he sits here, goes on to a stream that's basically trying to raise money for a cause that
A very good
cause that's very close to him, and then he goes in and dumps on the people who are doing this for him. He's dumping on some. From what I understand, two of the people who were involved in that were actually two of his biggest supporters for trying to get that Snyder cut out too, and now he's just going in there and taking a big dump on him. I mean,
he did it for woke points, and what everyone thinks, it's not a conspiracy theory if it has to be true, is that someone called him and said, hey, look, I know you're going on the show. So someone got a hold of him and said, you have to say this when you go on the air, because that's what everyone said who was there and saw it and said, like,
yeah,
like
they
this
feel like that's what it ended up being, is like
it was scripted. It felt like he had to say it. And so he listened to whatever his handlers or whatever PR asshole, said that he had to say that. And now, like, he's created this riff that even normies are talking about. Even normies know about this because it's such a big deal.
And when Flash did his video on it, right? When Flash did a video on that very thing, I commented on that. Well, it looks like Zach just made himself out to be the epitome of it. Well, I put, most people would have said POS. I put it in a more intelligent manner. I didn't say POS. I used the phrase, oh, he just became the epitome of feces.
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you were watching Flashcast the other night, but I pointed that out in one of my 2 super chats
on Saturday. Yeah,
and Flash and said, "Oh yeah, he is a POS."
Yep. That was good.
I of course just put it in a more like, I used more like appropriate. I didn't just swear. I just didn't use POS or the swear words. I put it in a more like proper way, as it were.
User friendly.
Yeah, he just I just said he just became the epitome of
poop.
Epitome of feces or poop or what have you. So let's see. Anonymity's been saying a few things here. So yeah,
he's been talking to us, and
then we got to all that. Okay, so let's see right here. When they tried to cancel Tug last time, it worked out so well. That's when the Lug defense team formed to
Yeah, we defend Lug. That going after Lug is just so, it's not acceptable. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, these people are. That you don't go after somebody's family. I mean,
Tug is a good man. We know Tug. We like Tug. Tug is a good man, and everything he's done. I mean, like, we know, even though he's secretive about his stuff, I know his real name and I know what he's done, just because they're so crazy they had to put it out there. I have forgotten it. I put it out of my head.
Yeah, I mean, I know his real name as well, because he's kind of mentioned it.
But I don't want to. I don't care. He's Tug. He's Tug.
I don't make a big deal about it either. I mean, there are some things I found out that were pretty interesting, but again, I don't really say a whole lot about it, because I understand. There's a reason why he wants to be known more as the Avatar, as opposed.
We know he's a good family man. We know that little Lizzie is our girl. She's our little Lug, and I mean, I hate to do this, but like, as a chat, as a community, we love Lug. she's like she's ours. We love her when she comes on for story time. That's why Tug has so many moderators, so that like no one swears and no one, because those crazy people have come into his chat to say bad things, specifically to Lug, his little daughter, and say like mean. They're gross. They're weird people. So yeah, what Anon is saying is right.
Yeah.
That we have.
Let's get caught up on some of these chats here.
Yeah. Sorry.
F. Snyder and F. Uche. Yeah, I know a lot of people were upset because Uche kind of like cringed. Let's see. Lucas and WB throwing Snyder under the bus too now. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. That
go
just
ahead, Mike.
happened. I know. I mean, like when I see that, there's a term that's become kind of interesting in recent times. Snyder is not just now the epitome of feces, but now with that, he's a useful. Can you finish it, Back Goat?
No, I'm not following.
Useful idiot. Haven't you heard that term before?
Oh, useful idiot. Yes. I'm sorry tonight. Sorry.
Yeah. But
no, you're right, Mike. You're right, Mike. They absolutely used him, and gosh, as he gets more unnecessary, and as this probably heats up, they'll distance from him too. You know how they work.
Yep. Let's see. Solid Sandy. You want to read this? Because this is.
Yeah, Mike. He says, Becca, the best part of the Flashcast was the debate that Flash had with Rakita. Remember when they were talking about what happens to a girl, like say in a pornographic movie, and how many things should be put into her? I think that's the debate.
I remember, and I mentioned the Solid.
Way to go, Solid.
I was thinking to myself, okay, dude, enough of this. Just get to the super chats, please. Please stop this before people start vomiting.
Yeah,
we really needed the image there. But yeah, that was despicable to go after a child. I think they got so much backlash. I think they had to back down for a while.
I agree.
Well, it's either back down or pray to God that none of us cross paths with them, because I'm sure now I don't think I've ever been there when they've gone after Tug, but I'm sure there's quite, with the way you said it, Back Goat, the way, from what I gather, even though she is technically Tug's daughter, to many of you, she is like a daughter to you. She's like your little girl. And if they start messing with her, they're gonna it's one of those things. You better hope to God you don't cross these people's paths, because
there's nowhere.
You know where I'm going with it. I won't finish the statement, but I know what you're saying.
There's nowhere on earth that someone could run from our wrath. It's not acceptable. It's not even a question.
Yeah. Well, Anonymity says here, I used to know Tug's name, but I only think of my YouTubers as the YouTuber names. That's how I know them, and that's how I like it. Well,
100% Anon. Great statement.
It's probably at this point, it's probably best to do. I am probably one of the few YouTubers out there who actually uses his legit real name.
That is true, Mike, and I'm very proud of you. You're a rock star.
I've never, I'm not really, granted some of it's the autism, but I've just always been just, at times, even without a filter, maybe a little too honest for my own good. But
again, like I said,
who I am.
Go to my channel, click on my video that says paramedic Navy reservist, because I know I talk a lot of poop, but it's true. I have been there and I have done that, and it you need a news story, which you can see on my channel, but they say paramedic Mike Stone. I'm like, yeah, I'll leave it up there. I don't care. And I made a video about where I live, the city of Prior Lake. Like,
I mean, at you know, if
I
you
don't think
already have
anyone's going to
something
come to
out
kill
there
me.
anyways,
And if they
you
do,
already have
it's
something
not
out
a
there.
good idea.
Yeah, I mean, if you already have yourself out there like I do and stuff like that, it just doesn't make much sense at this point because people have told me, well, yeah, you really shouldn't do that. But considering I've always done that, it's not like, you know, if I do it now, it's not like people aren't going to know who I, it's like, I
Exactly.
might as well just be who I am,
And
and
you
let
look
the
at it like Nick Ricada, who's like our guy, but he's a lawyer. So like when people come after him and he drinks a shot of whiskey and he goes, well, let me tell you what I did to your mom last night. We're like, that's our guy. That's our guy. And like nothing bad has ever happened to him. They legally have nothing on him. That's why he rolls.
Yeah. Okay, anonymity says I love when they get off the rails on the set, Flash streams. Um, uh, Batgoat Solid has another little thing for you here.
Yeah, this is Solid says Tug and RGE, Raging Golden Eagle, were quiet during that debate, weren't they? They certainly were.
Well, Tug's a family man. I don't really see him getting involved in anything like that.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm not. I have my suspicions
Nick's a
about this.
family man too, but he's a dirty, naughty boy.
Oh, you did you just say that Flash is a family man too?
No, Nick is a family man as well. He's got 5 kids, but he's also a perverted, naughty man.
Yeah,
naughty boy.
Well,
That's
yeah, I mean, and we've seen how he's had to kind of keep his kids from coming over to the screen too. Before. But I also kind of now, not that I would make any huge deal about it or anything like that, but I kind of suspect Flash may have a family too. Not that I'm really,
he does, but that's not well known, so we just don't talk about it.
And I wouldn't really say a whole lot about it anyways. I'm just acknowledging that, hey, I kind of have a
think of how crazy they are with Tug. If anyone found out shit on Flash, I keep swearing like I'm sorry. Think of how crazy they will go on Flash. Because he's just like Tug. There's no need for it because he's so anti them. He's so anti SJW, anti crap, anti bad comic writing. Like he just points it all out that they hate him and they will do physical stuff against him. So I'm with it. I get that.
Well, yeah, I mean, when when we look back on Fridays, when we've been looking back at those comics and looking how the writing was back then, that's some of this, and we talked about this in private, not with the rest of the chat here, but where that's one of the things that that does intrigue me is when you look back at the writing, look how language is changed over time and stuff like that. One of the things, but so
yeah, totally.
Let's see, and then and MG was saying they can't mess with Mike, and I'm guessing
right.
I'm guessing he means me, right?
Swearing. I'm sorry, Mike. You should have had me in tonight. I'm just doing nothing but dropping swear words.
Well, I mean, granted, as I've always said, I prefer people not swear just because it does show a lack it does generally show a lack of intelligence. I mean, people can
remember. I was in the Navy. I was in the Navy for 11 years. I crossed the equator on a ship of war. I'm a shellback. I'm allowed to swear. That's just me.
Yeah, and you notice I'm not really getting on you about it too much.
I know. I'm joking, Mike, and I really do try to watch my mouth.
Yeah, because I mean, we got enough negativity in the world. We got enough people swearing. I mean, plus, as I said, I think as granted, I know maybe it's from being from an older generation or whatever, but I just think that you don't. I mean, you've heard me. I'll swear every now and again. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I understand. You know, if you're like you were saying that you're a little buzzed, so maybe you're not in full control, but you're not like so out of control that and that's what
Yeah,
that would be more of a problem for me if like you were like
exactly.
so drunk that you were just totally out of control. Because that would be
I don't
something
like that. It's been many years. I don't like getting that point. You know, when I was in my 20s, I used to like that very much.
like
When I had small
my
children.
dad often had to remind me, he would often tell me, Mike, you can't argue with a drunk. And as I got older, I
That's
understood
very
that
true.
more and more.
That's very
But
true.
with me, there's always that fight in me, and there's always that part of me that just everything has to be a certain way. So it's like, but
Mike, I
sometimes,
gotta run into the kitchen real quick, so I'm gonna mute, but I'm listening to you. Okay.
okay,
I'll be back in like one
I'm gonna
minute.
read Anonymity's chat here. The SJW types try to cancel everyone with more influence than themselves. So everyone, I reckon, yeah, that's probably true but then if you think about it, Anon too, these people, okay, let's just outright say it. They're pathetic. They're pathetic. They have so little. They have so little appreciation for life itself that they can only seem to get enjoyment by basically trying to mess up somebody else's life. That's pathetic. Okay, as you guys have seen on for me, like now, Tug was one of the ones who kind of inspired me to start doing this. You know, start doing my own videos and live streams and stuff like that. Tug was one of the ones who. Now I saw, now Grant, I wanted to be a little bit different. I saw everybody, I know Flash gets into like covered mainstream media. Tug more has been doing that more of late. They've soured on the whole comic scene because of the people involved. But one of the things I always try to do is I try to do something more positive. I will cover cancel culture stories as needed because there are, but I don't make that the main crust of what I cover. I try to bring a more of a positive spin. Rather than shining a spotlight, rather than trying to put down people or rather than trying to focus on the negative, I try to do things more positive. I try to promote the positive, promote like one of the things I talked about with the whole Vic situation, right? Um, where rather than demote the negative people and try to cancel them or put them down, I'd rather focus and shine a light on those who aren't, you know, going off on Vic. Promote the positive rather than denote the negative or demote the negative. You know, find alternate. If you don't like what DC and Marvel are doing now, look to the past. Look and find some happiness from their glory days. So let's see. Yeah. So anyway, let's get through some more of these chats here. Swearing to convey a point is different than the joy to swear. Well, that could be true. You might have a point there. Um, I
I
think
agree.
most
Yeah.
I think most of the shed are literally the kids of parents who used to never who they never told no. Discipline physically, safe space. Yeah, the whole idea that the left would put that the whole concept of spare the rod, spoil the child is child
It's
abuse.
true. It's dang true.
What's true, Echo?
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
The,
I mean, like, I can't show numbers. I can't like start typing off websites and stuff, but we just know anecdotally it's true.
well, because kids need to have that.
They need
that
an ass whooping.
Yeah,
These
they
kids
need
today
that fear
need
of God
an
put
ass
into them a
whooping.
lot of times.
I swore again. They need a butt.
Well, I mean,
kicking.
we're getting into some heated topics too, so I mean, I can understand
True.
that.
But I agree with you on that, and
I mean,
honestly,
as a young kids don't know what's bad for them a lot of times, so they need at times they really do need at times to have the fear of God put into them. You know?
I never hit Maddie or Aaron, and I never laid a hand on either one of them, but I know I scared them. At one point or another, and there's one or two specific incidences that they both remember. We all remember, and I scared my children, specifically, like my son did something really bad to my daughter, and I'm like, right in front of me, he punches her in the face. I'm like, I was so upset, Mike. I couldn't.
You were about ready to take him over your knee.
Oh, beyond that, you punch her in the face, but he's 5 years old at the time, and she's 8, right? So I picked him up and I held him up like this, and I walked him into the other. And he was looking at me. His eyes got really big. He was so scared, and I set him down. And I said, "You know what you did." Yeah, he was so scared. He was scared of me because he knew he had done something wrong, and I was scared of me too. And I just kept breathing, and I was like, "I'm going to leave you in here for a little while," and I left. He didn't say a word. He didn't do anything. That was a bad one. It was scary because
he was 5, she was 8. He hit her.
He punched her right in the face. They were sitting next to each other on the couch. I walked in the room, and there was some like little bickering going on. And my girlfriend at the time, her daughter was there, so it was a normal thing. And he just tagged her right in the face, and she starts crying because it hurts, and it actually left a mark. And that's where I was like, it was horrifying, and I'm glad that I did not hit him, but I scared the piss out of him. He still remembers it to this day. He can beat the poop out of me, Mike. He's a big dude, much bigger than me.
You left such an impression on him that you wouldn't even dare to, or that he wouldn't even dare to.
No, he remembers that. I'm still his dad, even though he's a big cop that can beat me up. He knows I'm his dad. Just little things like that, and I didn't need to spank him or paddle him. I just put the fear of God into him because he did something so horribly wrong.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get through some of these. Let's see. Well, Solid just asked me something. If I used a mic when I stream, there would be nonstop obscenity. Shed SJWs. Got a new phone, getting used to it still, ha ha ha. I was raised by the yes ma'am, no sir style. You do whatever your mother asks you, and you best behave for dad, ha ha ha.
That's right, Anna.
Yeah, unlike a lot of the David Hoggs of the world, right? You raised him right. He's not scared of you. He loves you for showing him right from wrong and wrong from right.
That's very cool. I agree with that.
So we're at the 2-hour mark.
He better be scared of me because the Marines taught me McMath, which they don't even train anymore because the military now is a bunch of P words and F words and this and that words. And now, you know what? When I was in Don't Ask, Don't Tell, that works just fine. And now all of a sudden, hey, wave the rainbow flag and get married and get a breast augmentation on the government side. So the military that right now is different. But he knew I was a Navy guy, my kid, and he always respected me. And I hope that he knows. He should know that the Marines taught me how to kill people with my bare hands. Like I trained for that every year. Like I still know how to. It's not a good idea to come at me in a fight. That's all I can say. He knows that. But then
You
again,
know,
I'm
you
fat.
could basically defend yourself if you had to. I think
If I had to defend myself, I would, even though I'm fat and old and out of shape and I haven't practiced any of this stuff in a while. And believe me, the style of fighting I was taught by the Marines, you're talking about twisting scrote bags if you can. Just grab anything that you can and twist and pull.
Right.
Yeah, you fight dirty to live.
Yeah, you get them in a good chokehold, good rear naked choke.
Remember I was showing you the one night, the coming up behind someone and you have to shove. It's a good technique when you know how to do it right. You shove straight down and you come up and you make that solid V. And once that's positioned right, you put someone to sleep in 6 seconds. It's fantastic. But it doesn't work at like every situation is different. Like the meat puppet or the body has to be in a certain position. So that's what makes it all weird. And like when fights happen, it's like, hey, F you, no F you, and then a punch gets thrown. And so like you can't think of all the stuff that it's just weird. You have to hope.
Anonymity has something interesting to say here. Oh, don't get me started on the modern military garbage with lowering standards to be a soldier. Just wow.
I know. I'm with you, and don't get me started on that either.
Yeah. Well, we're a little beyond the 2-hour mark now, so
I think so. Is it just us? It's or look, Anon and Solid are here, so
well, yeah. Well, okay. The counter says 3, but I think
we know Solid's
there's
here
actually
too.
4 of them. Yeah, Solid might still be here. Anonymity, you, me. Just the counter's being a little screwy again, but anyways, I think it's probably be a good. Well, thank you for coming in, by the way.
I'm gonna pop out so you can get some history done.
Yeah, I was just about to do that. Well, before we do, if someone is going to fight you, you stay back right at about arm's length, find out their dominant hand, then most likely to lead with that, then you counter if you can.
That's really good instructions, but like Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And so, like what the Marines teach you is just bring that shit right up here because you are going to get punched. You're going to get hit. And so if you've got your fist and I just punched my glasses. You're going to get hit in a fight. Just expect that.
All right. Well, Woody just said he was lurking and ATC's lolling. So
Woody.
All right. Well, anyways, okay. Well, thanks for coming in, Batgoat, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, of course, and then of course Friday you'll be in with me to do, and hopefully you'll come in a little early. I'll send you the link and stuff like that. We'll
sounds good.
Prep for the comic history. But anyways, guys, we're just beyond the 2-hour mark, so I think I'm gonna wind everything down now. And Batgoat just, of course, stepped out, so. Without no further ado, today being and I know usually I prep it by saying is everybody ready? I figure everybody's ready by now because we've been here a while. So woo. Imagine Mike Tyson frushing you. It had just punched right through you. Yeah. Okay, well, anyways, guys, as I said, today is Wednesday, March the 24th, 2021. So let's go ahead and take a look back at this B-Rip time real quick, BRB. Okay, so let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. Just kind of review some things here real quick. Okay, so without no further ado, let's go ahead and get started on this day in Nietzsche history. Our first stop is going to be heading back 40 years ago today. On this date, 40 years ago today, the 150th issue of Archie's Pals and Gals went on sale on this date from Archie Comics back in 1981, 40 years ago today. So 40 years ago today, the 150th issue of Archie's Pals and Gals went on sale for 50 cents, and it was 32 pages. Okay, so there's that. Um, Now moving on to the I'm moving on to the next piece in each history, going back 30 years ago today. On this date, 30 years ago today, Wrestlemania 7 took place in Los Angeles at the Los Angeles Sports Arena, or is it? Yeah, the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena. WWF hosted WrestleMania 7 there. In the event, of course, you saw in the main event of that event, you saw Hulk Hogan defeat Sergeant Slaughter for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. This was, of course, around the time of the Gulf War, and where they had Sergeant Slaughter doing the whole Iraqi sympathizer gimmick at the time. Also on the card, the Big Boss Man would defeat Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, by a DQ in a match that was for Hennig's Intercontinental Championship. He retained it because there was a DQ win. You saw the Nasty Boys defeat the Hart Foundation for the WWF Tag Team Championship. You also had another big match. Saw the Undertaker start his streak, the WrestleMania streak. It's undefeated it was undefeated until a few years ago, but he started the streak there in his first WrestleMania match, defeating Jimmy Snuka. The Ultimate Warrior defeated Randy Savage in a retirement match. You also saw the Legion of Doom defeat Power and Glory in like 56 seconds. So on this date 30 years ago, you had WrestleMania 7 hosted by the WWF out of the Los Angeles Sports Arena. So there we go there. Let's see. I'm in back. Oh man, just barfed. Barfed alive. Feels great. Oh, okay, TMI. So anyways, so for that, and then one more piece in each history before we head out for the night. On this date, 15 years ago, 2016, the OVA's Prince of Tennis National Tournament from M.S.C. Studios, as well as Kyo no Go no Ni from Lyrics and Shikukan Studios, would debut on this date back in 2006. So the OVA's Prince of Tennis National Tournament and Kyo no Go no Ni would premiere on this date back in 2006. So, with all that being said, we'll conclude tonight. I thank you guys for being here tonight. I know we kind of started out slow. It was good to have Batgoat in with me at the end there to have some good conversation going. And I hope to see you guys back here tomorrow night. Hopefully, I'll be able to find a few more news items to talk about. Maybe combine some stuff from tonight and tomorrow night. But anyways, let's see. Let's get caught up on these last few chats here, and then we'll be done for the night. So, let's see. Okay, we saw that. Looks like a good card. Mm-hmm. A good cough. Laugh out loud. If you don't cough, you don't get off. Well, stuff it back in for the next rip. Oh boy. Laugh out loud. Woody battle style. Ha ha ha. Was my pleasure. Thank you, Bat Goat. Peace, fam. Have a good one, everyone. And as I said again, everyone, thank you all for being here. I know we started out a little slow, but kind of picked up at the end there. Hope to see you all again tomorrow night. And don't forget, Friday, Batcoat and I we'll be looking at May of 1937 of comics. So until tomorrow, guys, bye.